You will come back, my friends. Skirt.
You know, I've really got to figure out what the hell is going to go on with this whole big Anywho, what is happening, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Pitch, my only unscripted show where I just kind of look at a bunch of stuff and I'm like, hey, what if this got a TV adaptation or a movie? I don't know, maybe a video game too. Who the fuck really knows for sure? But I will say this. Fables got the short end of the stick by only having a video game adaptation when it should have also gotten a TV show adaptation. It's just that HBO didn't pull the trigger fast enough, and then ABC had to listen to its overlord of Disney to give us Once Upon a Time, aka watered down version of Fables. Now, I know the whole big pitch was to talk about the stuff from the earlier edition of the comics, when it was Bigby as the sheriff looking into a big murder. Snow White's already mayor of Fabletown, and it's also going to lead into Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and also the concept about how fables are immortal the longer that you tell their story, but the more that you don't tell the story, they're kind of forgotten, and if they die in the real world, they kind of die, period, and then leading into the entity that made them leave Fabletown, and all this whole sort of stuff that would have been a great 8-season epic. However, now that the comic is done and everybody is starting to get into it, thanks to The Wolf Among Us, thanks to Telltale Games, thank you for all your services, and I hope to finally get that sequel season that you've been teasing us with for I don't know how fucking long. We're now going to finally talk about the possibility of what would have happened if we had a TV show nowadays. If someone would just approach you about a big pitch, it's not one of my ideas, it's actually coming from a good friend of mine. So, here's a big synopsis, and here's a big scenario. At present, if you guys have not read anything up for or researched the comic, do not watch the rest of this video from here, because there are certain spoilers going around everywhere when I'm talking about this. So, plot synopsis. Set approximately 50 years after the end of the original comic book run, and its controversial ending about how it felt unfulfilling and empty and a little bit on the flowery side because Vertigo just didn't want to have Bill Willingham tell a complete story for some reason. We start to follow the children of Bigby and Snow White, the wolf pack, or the cub pack, if you will. We will be following one of the kids, but I think it'll be easier to follow Ghost, the unseen, unnoticed, and kind of underutilized child, to be our focal narrator. He would be the one that observes everything as he's following each of his siblings for each different season of sorts about how the world of Fables has changed. You bring in old Fables from the comics that actually give more of a fleshed out read for everybody. Could spend the first 2 episodes just establishing what has happened, what's going on, who are going to be our main players. But having each of the siblings that are alive actually go into each and every instance, or even go into the ones that have passed on and did not get a full story in the world of the living for the one that died, or actually the 2 that died. Anyway, then we have that whole presence of we establish the world in a 2-part where it's split up into 2 different episodes, and then we split into it for each of the children of Bigby and Snow White having their own problems in the modern era surrounding all these big problems. Are there new fables that are causing havoc? Is Jack causing some BS every now and again that's leading into some trouble with humans? Are certain fables doing certain things that are against their nature that's actually making a lot of corruption happen in a huge and dark way? Are fables being altered because of what humans have done to their stories? Are myths now becoming an adversary for fables? You open that floodgate now because Bill Willingham gave the whole permission of, I'm making this bitch copyright free, which means you can do a lot with this. You can make it so the corruption that comes from humanity's own interference with fables is a bigger measurement towards the magic that comes from fables as a whole. There are myths that you can interweave with this because now that they become more prevalent, like with Hades Town and Epic the Musical being these big monolithical things, it introduces a brand new weave into the magical ley line effect for... I don't know why I said ley line and everything. I'm making a whole TTRPG, guys. It's no big deal. It makes a bigger impact now because the world is growing so out of control. No other Fable can really get into the whole concept without understanding that they don't understand anything anymore. If you wanted it to be a whole big tie-in about how the verse of Fables everywhere around the world in every universe, you can make it seem as if the Disneyfication of other Fables can be addressed as like, oh, we didn't want to tell our story, but somebody took it and then ran with it and make a joke about it. You could do those things and more. This is just a common concept I've been told time and time again. You have 6 stories in the world of the living, 1 to 2 in the land of the dead, technically, and then you just peter it out to where you can make a special or 2, or even just like interweaving OVA, well, not OVAs, that's for anime. Original shorts of sorts for titular characters for like the older generation, like there's a short for Bigby and Snow White as a married couple. Here's one about the Beast and Beauty having their whole thing. Here's a thing with Jack. Here's a thing with Red Rose and Little Boy Blue. Here's one about Flycatcher running the farm. You have so many interweaving things you can make a legitimate franchise from this. There's just one thing. You gotta get your head out of your ass and then look at the money you just let sit on the table that would have gotten you something not even Game of Thrones would have gotten you. And that's a lucrative property that is so interwoven in how you could have gotten fresh writers, sorry. English is not my strong suit right now because I had my blood drawn and my head's still a little bit foggy. You can then also have some hot new talent come into play that would wake up everybody, wash everyone out of the park, make it a show-stopping spectacular. Get some brand new music that you've never really considered. Get some artists that you've never really heard about make big splashes. You make a big empire that funnels in more money for merchandising, for more projects, to bring more awareness. You then create the demand even more so than what you have already with the Penguin, with Creature Commandos, with Peacemaker, with the Suicide Squad properties. DC would have been so much more on the forefront for their live action stuff than they already have now, that it would have been a easy thing to then just be like, oh, with the Elseworld stories here and here, we can now interweave it to do stuff like Saga, the comics with Marco in it. And I know, I'm still putting off that voice acting attempt video for a reason. Get off my dick about it. You could also do some other stuff with that one guy that looks like Red Hood, but not Red Hood. I forget his name, because I am not a comic book nerd. You could do so many things that would have brought so much more attention. You have something solid here. You have a good idea for an IP that thrives on its own. But you're not doing anything with it, so I guess we're just gonna let the money dry out. If no one's gonna take up this pitch, go to their nearest studio and be like, hey, I got an idea to make us money. And it's gonna make you so much money, you'll pay everybody an even wage. And then you're gonna put all of this stuff together. We're gonna make a McDonald's commercial. A McDonald's commercial? A McDonald's commercial. That's how confident I feel you could actually do it if you have the right team, the right actors, and the right people constructing the whole idea to make even just this pitch go from just the ramblings of somebody that has a light head because they donated blood, and take it across the way of being like, hey, we can make money over this. Some crazy guy on the internet said so. That's all you gotta remember. That's it. That's all. That's everything. That's all pimping. That's all that's gonna be good in the hood. And then you just, you go with it. You make fucking money. That's how it be. Anyway, I know I was supposed to do a different episode, but honestly, I kind of just wanted to do my own thing today. And I kind of don't have any issues just doing my own thing because I'm happy. You should be happy too. Because next episode we're going to be doing is, I don't know. We're just going to let the chips fall where they may with this series. I try to set up stuff from other shows where it's scripted or researched or lightly scripted, mostly improv. For this show, let's just be silly with it. Let's have fun.
Boom, you feel it when I walk in the room. The shiver up your spine as I loom. The string puller like harps that's keeping y'all in tune.